Good morning, fans. This is your girl from Mel'S Mat Chat, and this is episode 305. I know, finally. How is everybody doing? Now, when you're seeing this, it's like going to be like 6 o'clock in the morning. So, when I'm recording this, this is on my son's birthday evening. He's asleep. He's getting ready to go back to school program, adult program, and basically tonight is just going to be covering the fallout show from All Out and um, Monday Night Raw's fallout show from Payback. So it's basically that's it. There's nothing really going on. um, but I do want to say that we had four pieces of news today. Well, the past General Adnan has passed away. We also had the firing of Ace Steel from AEW. That was foregone conclusion. If you didn't think that was going to happen, then I don't know what else to tell you. Also, as of this Tuesday, we Endeavor will be fully the merger of WWE and UFC will be taking place this Thursday on September 12th, and there is going to be oh, I just lost my train of thought. There is there's going to be a new SmackDown member. So because there was a trade with Jay Uso, and so I'm wondering who's it going to be, and I think it's going to be Cody, and that's how he is going to finish the story. I got long nails and I got schmutz underneath them, and they're driving me bananas. But that's besides the point. Um, that is what's heading this week. Um, People are saying, "Oh, CM Punk is going to show up in Chicago in Survivor Series." Not going to happen. You think Tony Khan's stupid enough to allow him to go and waltzing right back into WWE? No bueno. That's not happening. Because then it would definitely make him look stupid. Hopefully, he's going to be able to stop him and do like a no compete clause. But that's what it is. And also, LA Knight has rumored to sign a 5-year extension, so he's not going anywhere. He's been selling fucking merchandise like fucking crazy. It's nuts. So let's get this party started. I want to get you in. I want to get you out of here. I want to, not make this a big deal. It's only 2 shows and that's it. And I would like to get to sleep because I'm recording this on Thursday. And I would like to get to sleep because I got to get up super early in the morning and be ready to take my son back to school. I've been exhausted all week. Today's actually, when I'm recording this, it's my son's birthday. He just turned 18. How can I have an 18-year-old kid? It's crazy. So, anyway, let's get this started. Please do me a favor. Go check out the people over at Maestro Classics at maestroclassics.com. Get all your beauty essentials right then and there, one non-stop shop. Please do me a favor and go check out the people over at Liquid Death at liquiddeath.com and murder your thirst with unflavored water, flavored salsa water, and iced tea. Please do me a favor, go check out the people over at Deathwish Coffee at deathwishcoffee.com and get really righteous coffee that will basically keep you up and make you a zombie. And you're going to need it, especially coming into the fall season and getting into the holiday spirit. Please also go check out HOG Wrestling at hogwrestling.net, where you can see their next pay-per-view, which is on the Premier app for $9.99 a month. And you can then get your licks on El Helio del Vikingo, and just announced today, Thursday, Sunny Kiss will be on the show. So if you're a fan of Sunny Kiss, go check it out. But if you could get tickets, please go check it out at hogwrestling.net. Please follow me on Instagram, TikTok, X, Twitter, Facebook, and Threads. All right. Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw was um, a night of the fallout of WWE Payback. Also scheduled for tonight is highly anticipated Intercontinental Championship match between Gunther and Chad Gable. So we have the night as follows. Jey Uso arrives on Raw. Tornado Tag Team match, Matt Riddle and Drew McIntyre versus the Viking Raiders. And the Intercontinental Championship match, Gunther versus Chad Gable. We started off with Jey Uso coming out to the ring. He gets on the mic and says was only gone two to 3 weeks, but he felt a lot longer than that. He says he really hit his breaking point fighting his family. He says Cody Rhodes called him out of the blue, and that's why he will main event Raw by himself. Sami Zayn music plays, and he walks in the ring. Sami Zayn says it's crazy to see him standing here. He said there's a lot of people here in the locker room who will have a problem with you, Jey, being here on Raw. He said it's about both of them, and he wanted to make sure he'd be the first person he saw when Jey Uso came to Raw, so that he could tell him face to face that he's happy to see him. He says Jey broke free, and now he's standing here by himself. Sami says he's proud of Jey and offers him a handshake, but Jey doesn't shake his hand. Sami says he is here whenever he needs to talk and starts to walk away. Jey Jey stops him and says, "Well, that wasn't very Usi of him." And then he offers the handshake, but Sami hugs him. Aw, what a cute moment that is. We started off with the first match, Matt Riddle and Drew McIntyre versus the Viking Raiders. McIntyre comes out and he goes to the ring. Drew and Jey stare down and Sami breaks them up. Matt Riddle's theme song comes out and stares down Jey before walking to the ring. Ricochet is talking backstage with Adam Pearce. Seth walks by and Adam stops and says he is not cleared to be here tonight. Seth says he can walk, he can fight. Ricochet says he respects Rollins for being here. He says Rollins doesn't need to carry the whole show. Rollins says he's fine and he walks away. Viking Raiders go to the ring. The match begins finally after the commercial break, and they're in the ring. The match begins with McIntyre attacks Eric. He hits a spine buster, Triple A style, on Ivar. Eric hits McIntyre with a knee, sending him out of the ring. He does the same to Riddle. Drew comes in the ring and sends Ivar out of the ring. He tosses Riddle on the Viking Raiders. Riddle goes to take a table from underneath the ring. We go to commercial break. We come back. Ivar climbs to the top rope, but is stopped by Drew. Riddle and McIntyre suplex Ivar. Eric with a knee to the face, cover 1-2 kick out. McIntyre with a shoulder tackle to Ivar. He hits a neck breaker to Eric and Ivar. He then hits the Death Valley Driver on Ivar. McIntyre goes for a power bomb, but Ivar stops him. Drew sends Ivar over the announcer's desk. Ivar comes back with a splash. Riddle with a flash knee. He sets up a table in the ring and places Eric on it. Riddle climbs to the top rope, but Valhalla distracts him and takes advantage. Ivar takes advantage. Kofi Kingston comes out and attacks Eric and Ivar. He accidentally hits Riddle with a Trouble in Paradise. The Viking Raiders throw Kofi into Drew. They hit the Red Knock and on Riddle for the win. The Viking Raiders pick up the win. After the match, we hear Seth Rollins' music, and he ends up going to the ring. We go to commercial break. Seth is in the ring. He says Payback Nakamura did everything he said he was going to do. He said Nakamura targeted his back throughout their match, but he's still the world heavyweight champion. He says one thing has been sitting right in the past, has been sitting right for the past 2 days, because Nakamura was able to walk out of the building when he was pushed out by his wife. Rollins calls out Nakamura. Shinsuke Nakamura music comes out and he goes to the ring. Seth asks him to get in the ring. He says he has a proposition for Nakamura. Nakamura doesn't move from the entrance stage. Rollins says he has another World Heavyweight Championship rematch tonight on Raw. Nakamura says something in Japanese. Rollins says he assumes that Nakamura is accepting his challenge and asks him to get in the ring. Nakamura says no. Rollins asks if they're going to have a world title match, and Nakamura says no. Rollins says that he's not going to work, and this is not going to work, and he charges at Nakamura, and they brawl on the entrance ramp. WWE officials come to break up the brawl. Nakamura kicks the back of Rollins. Ricochet comes out to fight off Nakamura. We go to commercial break. Seth is trying to argue Pierce, who tells him he is trying to help Rollins, but he walks away. So then we have an impromptu match. So we have Ricochet versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Nakamura rolls out of the ring, but Ricochet goes after him and sends him into the ring. Ricochet with a head scissors. Nakamura attacks Ricochet and hits a knee drop. Nakamura with a sliding German suplex, and we go to commercial break and we come back. Nakamura with a knee to the midsection. Ricochet comes back with an elbow. Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley are looking backstage. Ricochet tells Nakamura in the corner, attacks Nakamura in the corner. He then goes for a springboard clothesline and follows it up with a standing shooting star press. He goes for a 450 splash and misses. Nakamura kicks him in the head. Ricochet recovers and hits a recoil. Cover 1-2 kick out. Ricochet kicks Nakamura. He sends Nakamura into the time. He then dives onto him. Nakamura drives Ricochet into the barricade. Ricochet sends Nakamura into the timekeeper's area. Nakamura hits Ricochet with a steel chair, causing a DQ. Winner Ricochet via disqualification. So then after this whole thing finished up, he then sends Ricochet into the ring and places a steel chair around his neck. Rollins comes down to the ring and brawls with Nakamura. Rollins attacks the security and officials and dives onto Nakamura. Nakamura sends Rollins into the steel steps. Nakamura stomps Rollins. Ricochet chases Nakamura away. Priest and Rhea are watching, and Rhea tells him not tonight, meaning to not cash in. Jackie interviews Zoe Starks, who says she has a lot of respect for Trish Stratus. She says nobody pushes her. Shayna Baszler interrupts and says she was wondering when Zoe was going to get rid of Trish. Stark says they have some unfinished business. She challenges her to a match. Shayna accepts and walks away. The Judgment Day music goes on, and they go to a commercial break, which I hate. Dominic says they did what Rhea told them to do at Payback. He says Rhea took care of defending her title. He also says Priest and Balor handled Owens. Balor congratulates Dominic on his 1-year anniversary of joining the Judgment Day. He also thanks Rhea for everything. Balor gives a special shout out to J.D. McDonough, and he also thanks himself in becoming a Grand Slam champion. Rhea says Balor and Priest rose to the occasion and showed everyone that they are brothers. She said that's one thing that is aggravating her, and that is the focus is not on them. Instead, people are talking about Jey Uso and the Bloodline. And she says the Bloodline has fallen, and they are the most dominant faction in all of WWE. J.D. McDonough comes out. Priest tells him he needs to have a good reason for being here. JD gets in the ring and says he's he is there because Rhea has had some big changes that are needed in the Judgment Day. He says Priest doesn't need that briefcase. He unveils a new one. So it's more of Judgment Day colors. And it says Senor Money in the Bank. Sami Zayn comes out to the ring. He says Owens is not here, but they are going to let that slide after it took 5 people to beat them. He says Dominic is owed a big beating. JD says Dominic is not fighting anyone, and he offers to fight Zayn instead. Sami says nobody deserves a bigger beating than JD. Gunther is backstage, and he says history will be made tonight, and his legacy will be forever. He said he will go down in history as the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion. And as of today, he has surpassed Honky Tonk. Shayna Baszler versus Zoe Starks. Shayna goes out to the ring. Then we go to commercial break. Raquel is backstage with Adam Pearce, who agrees with her. Green comes in and says she's a future Hall of Famer and she doesn't wait in line behind Raquel. Pearce says Niven is not clear to compete. So what the fuck is going on with her now? Green asks Raquel what Raquel was talking about. She makes fun of her, but Raquel is behind her. Pearce sets up a match between them. Raquel says she will see her in the ring and walks away. Zoe goes out to the ring, and the match begins, and Shayna knocks down Stark. Stark with a drop kick. Shayna comes. The match begins with Shayna knocks down Stark. Stark with a drop kick. Shayna comes back and stomps the arm of Stark. Stark kicks Shayna, sending her out of the ring. Baylor locks in the Karafuda clutch, but Starks gets out of it. She then dives onto Shayna. We go to commercial break and we come back with Shayna kicks Starks in the face. Zoe goes for a Z360, but Shayna blocks it and Starks hits her, sending Shayna out of the ring. Stark with a splash on Shayna. She sends her into the ring. Starks goes for a dive, but Shayna catches her and locks the Karafuda clutch in, and Starks passes out. So then after the match, Shayna picks up the win. Shayna and Starks fist bumps each other before walks away. The Judgment Day is backstage, and Balor takes the case for JD to join the group. Priest says he needs to prove himself. Balor says he wouldn't be champion they wouldn't be champion if it wasn't for JD. Rhea says let's see how he fares in the match against Sami. Raquel Rodriguez versus Chelsea Green. This was a fucking ridiculous match. It really was. Raquel goes out to the ring. We go to commercial break. Chelsea goes out to the ring. The match begins where Raquel throws Green around the ring. She hits her with a big boot, follows with a fall-away slam. Raquel hits her with a clothesline and follows it up with a Tejana bomb for the win. Big fucking deal. Then after the match, Raquel gets on the mic and she's getting her rematch. She says Dominic will be banned from ringside. She says she will see Rhea next week for their title match. What is with this? Honestly, they should not, because they don't have anybody to fucking put against Rhea. That's why. And if anybody fucking tells you that, oh, that match at Payback was fucking great, it was sloppy as fuck. I've seen better matches. Rhea with Rhea in it. All right? Fucking goddamn Raquel Rodriguez couldn't even pick her up for a suplex or anything. She had to use the ropes. And she has a fall-away slam as her big move. Thea Hale has a better fucking moveset than she does. Just saying. So then after she finishes on the mic, we have Alpha Academy backstage. Gable says he's ready to he is already in the history books. He lists his accomplishments. He said he gets to prove to everyone that he's more than just a tag team specialist. The Miz goes out to the ring. And we have a commercial break. Drew McIntyre is backstage searching for Kofi Kingston. Riddle asks him to calm down. He says he says he Jay a big pass and he will go after Cody if Jay messes up. Kofi walks and apologizes. Drew asks what are the chances that he would do a similar accident, and he is going to keep his eyes open in case any more accidents happen. The Miz is in the ring. Miz's guest tonight will shine a light on what happened at Payback. He said he didn't want to lose, and he says he did not lose, and he says he will bring out a man who will right this wrong. The Miz introduces John Cena. John Cena's music plays, but he's nowhere to be seen. He starts mocking Cena by talking to Air. He says the kids are booing. John Cena, he asks if the crowd sees him and says he's sitting right there. He says for the past 18 years he has been able to write past Cena. He will translate for Cena. He asks if LA Knight paid him to offend him LA Knight paid him or offered him a job and demands for an answer. He gets pissed off when the crowd says yeah. He asks again. He says Knight's victory should be thrown out. He asks the Air to leave and shoves the Air, but gets shoved back and pretends to hit a skull-crushing finale. He said there is nothing imaginary about what had happened to him and challenges him to a match. He says he accepts he will find out whose game really is. He says LA Knight's fairy tale is going to come crashing down soon. And we go to commercial break. Sami Zayn versus JD McDonough. Sami Zayn heads out to the ring. And we go to commercial break again. Jay runs into Akira Tozawa backstage. He then continues to walk and meets Adam Pearce, who tells him that someone from Raw might head to SmackDown in exchange for Jay. He wants to warn him. Jay walks away and Tommaso Ciampa walks up to Pearce and asks if this is a good time to talk. They step inside to his office. For a guy that's just an official, he gets an office. Just give him the GM. My God, it makes things so much simpler. So JD McDonough's music goes to the ring. The match begins with JD rolling out of the ring. He gets back in and Sammy attacks him. JD and Sammy from behind attack Sammy from behind. Sammy sends JD out of the ring. JD drives Sammy into the apron and bounces his head off the announcer desk. JD sends Sammy into the post. We go to commercial break and we have coming back. Sammy attacks JD in the corner. He hits a back body drop. Sammy hits a Michinoku driver. He sits up McDonough for the top rope but is knocked off. JD goes for a dive and misses. Sammy hits an exploder in the corner. Dominic pulls JD out of the ring. Sammy attacks Dominic. He then sends JD in the ring. Dominic distracts the referee and JD rolls up Sammy for the win. And he wins and he has brownie points with the Judgment Day. Sammy goes after Dominic. Sammy hits an exploder suplex on Dominic. JD pulls Sammy out of the ring and tells Dominic to leave. Sammy hits an exploder suplex. He then hits a Luva kick on JD. Dominic and JD walk backstage and they run into the Judgment Day. Dominic says he has some business and he goes to talk to Jay. He says both came from messed up families and Hall of Fame fathers, and he feels it. He says he knows what Jay is going through. He said Jay comes from a broken family and no one likes him. He said ever since Mommy and the Judgment Day came into his life, he says he will talk to the Judgment Day to get into the group he asked Jay to think about before walking away. That's an interesting situation, to say the very least. Main event time. Intercontinental Championship match. Gunther versus Chad Gable. Chad's family was in the audience, and I'm like, oh my god, they're gonna fucking do it. They're gonna take the title off before they needed to. So both competitors head to the ring. The match begins with Gunther takes down Gable. Gable knocks down Gunther out of the ring. Commercial break. Come back, Gable with a corkscrew on Gunther. Gunther comes back in with a big boot, cover 1-2 kick out. Gunther chops down Gable. He does it again. Gable tries to fight back, but Gunther stops him and sends him outside the ring. Commercial break. Gunther viciously attacks Gable. Gunther and Gable fall outside the ring. Gable with a German suplex outside the ring. He sends Gunther into the ring. Gunther catches Gable and hits a powerbomb. Cover 1-2 kick out. Gunther climbs the top rope but is stopped. Gunther chops him down. Gable recovers and hits a suplex on Gunther. He hits a diving headbutt. Cover 1-2 kick out. He locks in an ankle lock. Gable with a back suplex. Gable hits a chaos theory. Cover 1-2 kick out. Gable locks in the ankle lock on Gunther. He escapes and locks in a sleeper hold. Gable escapes and Gunther hits a sleeper suplex and follows it up with a powerbomb. He then clotheslines for the win, and Gunther is the winner, and he is now in the history books. He is the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all times. And congratulations to the Ring General. So we're gonna go on to what is it called? Dynamite, and then I'm gonna get you out of here, and then I'm gonna get to bed and have a great rest of your Friday. I'm exhausted. I'm freaking exhausted. I need a vacation. I need I need this. This is ridiculous. And what the fuck is going on? My tablet, it is slow. Thank you. Dynamite was coming from the Indiana Farmers Coliseum, Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm sorry. We started off with freshly squeezed orange. Cassidy came out to kick off the show. One of the greatest champions of all time in AEW, but after All Out, a former champion, said Excalibur. The fans chanted, "Thank you, Orange. Thank you, Orange." Orange Cassidy's, "Hey, thank you. So you told me to stay home, But I was like, nah, I'm not going to do that. Championship or no championship, I will be here every single week because I am freshly squeezed orange and I do not have a catchphrase. As Orange Cassidy was leaving the ring, out of out of out came the new AEW International Champion, Jon Moxley, and Ring of Honor World Champion Claudio Castagnoli. Orange stood on the ramp and watched as Moxley entered the ring. So we had first defense. AEW International Championship Open Challenge match. Jon Moxley versus AR Fox. Fox dodged a lariat from Moxley, but Mox was there to chop away at Fox in the corner. Fox connected with a springboard dropkick. Fox flew over the top rope and wiped out Moxley on the floor. Fox DDT'd Moxley for a near fall. Moxley whipped AR Fox into the steel barricade. Fox rallied back with a thrust kick to the champ. Fox blasted Moxley with a cutter for a near fall. Darby Allin and Nick Wayne were backstage watching the match on the monitor. AR Fox vaulted off the ring post with a moonsault on Moxley. Fox hit Moxley with a 450 splash for a 2 count. Moxley captured Fox and nailed him with a hammer and anvil elbows. Moxley followed up with a King Kong lariat and then a Death Rider to score the pin on AR Fox. Darby Allin checked on AR Fox after the match. Nick Wayne was watching from the back when they were approached by Christian and Cage and TNT champion Luchasaurus. Christian Cage told Nick Wayne if he wanted a true mentor, Nick should be looking at him. And he say hi to your mom for me, said Christian Cage. TBS champion open match. Chris Statlander versus Emi Sakura. Sakura tried to surprise the champion with a quick roll-up. She followed up with a Tiger Driver on Statlander. Emi drove Statlander to the arena floor with a running crossbody press outside the ring. Emi nailed Chris with a crossbody press against the steel ring steps. Back in the ring, Emi stunned the champ with a lariat. Both women collided in the center of the ring with dueling lariats. Both women, same idea, and both women go down and said Excalibur. Statlander was brought back down with a swinging neck breaker and then a nasty vertical back breaker from Emi Sakura. Statlander connected with a discus lariat. Statlander smashed Emi with a Wednesday Night Fever and pinned Emi. Roderick Strong was backstage with the Kingdom, Matt Tavern, and Matt Bennett. Strong, wrestling gave me an opportunity to become something I was not. No one was judging him for what my parents were not doing. Professional wrestling is just a business to me. It's my everything. But Adam Cole already knew that. I grew up alone, and I'm going to win this Grand Slam tournament alone. We have Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara versus Aussie Open, Kyle Fletcher and Mark Davis. Don Callis joined the commentary booth. Davis and Jericho started things with a collar elbow tie-up. Jericho chopped at Davis, but Davis returned fire. Sammy tagged in, and Jericho and Sammy took Davis down with a double shoulder tackle. Mark Davis did a cartwheel and then hit a double clothesline on Jericho and Sammy. Kyle Fletcher tagged in and body slammed Sammy. Sammy hit Kyle with a corkscrew dropkick. Jericho tagged in and Sammy nailed Kyle with a delayed vertical suplex. Davis and Fletcher smashed Jericho with stereo forearms. Sammy came in with a cutter on Davis. Jericho fired back with a code breaker on Fletcher. Jericho connected with a dropkick off the turnbuckles. Sammy rocketed over the top with a tornado. onto Aussie Open on the arena floor. Jericho went over the top rope but inadvertently landed on Sammy. Aussie Open made the dash around the ring with Jericho and Sammy and bashed them with a collider. Aussie Open nailed Jericho with Aussie Arrow, and Davis grabbed a near fall on Jericho. Jericho swept out the legs of Fletcher and tried for the walls, but Fletcher escaped. Fletcher spiked Jericho with a brainbuster for a near fall. The fans chanted, "This is awesome! This is awesome!" Jericho charged at Fletcher, but Fletcher ducked and Jericho inadvertently hit Sammy. Jericho cracked Fletcher with the Judas effect and pinned him. After the match, Sammy shoved Jericho. Jericho shoved back. AEW security had to separate the two men. Sammy walked out on Jericho. "Sammy wants nothing to do with Jericho at this point," said Excalibur. "Sure, they could patch this up," said Taz. "The cracks in their relationship are widening," added Excalibur. Renee Paquette interviews Don Callis and Konosuke Takeshita backstage. Don Callis, "We made history and beat Kenny Omega twice in 7 days. We're going to have a celebration next week as well as unveiling our next target." Next, one half of the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions and AEW World Champion MJF. I tweeted out that the promo with these two are going to be fucking fire, and I'm not joking. It's going to be crazy. MJF, "I've got a question. Who's your daddy?" As you know, this past Sunday, Adam Cole and I successfully defended our Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions. And that Mark Tony Khan says I have to wrestle again on September 20th. That's Grand Slam. And that's the Devil's Den. MJF is coming back to New York, and whoever wins that Grand Slam tournament is going to find out the hard way that nobody is on the level of the devil. But there's one person that needs to be taught a lesson, and that Ring of Honor World Television Champion Samoa Joe came down to the ring. Samoa Joe, now pardon the interruption, but I was in the back and I heard a little piss and vinegar in your voice, and I wanted to get front row for what was about to be said. What seems to be the problem, kid? MJF, "Kid Joe, you must be embarrassing, really embarrassing for you. You must be confused. My entrance for an ice cream truck." Samoa Joe, "That's good, but to be quite honest, the last time I had anything to do with an ice cream truck, I was busy being the biggest star of the company's network. No, Max, I am out of genuine concern. So what's your problem, kid?" MJF, "That's kid twice. You call me kid twice, and you know what's funny about me, Joseph? I'm pretty creative. Hey, everybody look, it's the Pillsbury Joe boy. No, wait, that's Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe, oh, jokes and venom. Now, Max, it seems like you're having a hard time comprehending what's going on. I'm going to ask you again, Max, what's your problem, kid? MJF, you call me kid one more time, I'm going to knock your teeth down your throat. Time out. Now that's what you want me to react. Yeah, because you want to skip the line. I'm sorry, there's a whole tournament if you want to wrestle the champion. And we all know how the story ended. I knock his British ass packing, and to coin it, wait a second. I completely okay. To coin the phrase from my bro, who's ready for for a storyline with MJF. Back when I was 19 years old, I had a tryout with WWE. I knocked it out of the park because I am that damn good. I was pulled aside by William Regal, and we know the story. He said he would have signed me, but I was too young and he blew me off. And we all know how that story ended. I knocked his British ass, sent his British British ass packing and sent him back to NXT where he belongs. And funny enough, Joe, if you play your cards right, you're next. Later on that evening, I was informed that I would get to be security to walk wrestling legend down to the aisle. I was going to meet the great Samoa Joe. But what did you do, Joe? You decided to take a 19-year-old kid who was just trying to do his job. You shoved me into a brick wall and you laughed. And let's be honest, I know why you did that. I know how scumbags think because I am their scumbag. The fans chanted, "He's our scumbag. He's our scumbag." I never thought in 2023 I would be we would be chanting scumbag. MJF, you did it because I was a kid and you could get away with it. I'm not a kid anymore. I'm a full grown man and I'm the AEW World Champion. I'm the best wrestler on God's green earth and I'm headlining the most historic pay-per-view of all time. And I am MJF. So Joey, if I were you, I'd stay out of my way or else I'm going to kill you. And you don't want to know why. And you want to know why? Joe, because my name is MJF and I'm better than you and you know it. So Joe, that was a point beautifully made, except there is one problem with it. I didn't think of you as a kid when I pushed you. I know what I thought about you. Didn't think you were a kid, Max. I thought you were a little bitch. MJF slapped Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe, now this is you trying to provoke me. I'm not going to take your bait. I'm not going through that tournament and beat everyone in it. I'm going to come for you until then, champ. Have a nice day. As MJF was walking through the ropes, Samoa Joe kicked the ropes and stomped on MJF. Samoa Joe held up the AEW World title until MJF kicked Samoa Joe between the legs. MJF charged at Samoa Joe, but Samoa Joe spiked him. Samoa Joe was looking to hit the Muscle Buster, but Adam Cole sprinted to the ring to even up the odds. Samoa Joe left the ring laughing. Grand Slam World Title and Eliminator Tournament quarterfinal match. Trent Beretta versus Roderick Strong. Strong grappled Trent to the ground. Strong applied a front face lock. Strong hit a shoulder tackle, but Beretta came back with a knee strike. Roderick Strong cracked Trent with a backbreaker. Trent launched off the top rope with a DDT on Strong, targeting the neck. Strong shoved Trent into the ring post. Strong planted Trent on the edge of the ring. Roderick rocked Trent with a sick kick right on target. Trent used a Hurricane Rana off the top rope for a near fall on Roddy. Trent followed up with a half and half suplex. Trent used a Hurricane Rana off the top rope for a near fall on Roddy. Trent followed up with a half and half suplex. Trent spiked Strong with a pile driver, but Roddy got his boots on the rope to stop the ref's count. Strong cracked Trent with a knee strike and then finished him off with the end of Heartache to score the pin on Trent, and he moves on Roderick Strong. Renee Paquette was interviewing Tony Storm, and she asked Tony about the can of spray paint. Tony, it was such a blur. We must look forward. Renee, you are so nosy. You just poke. Next week, I'll be doing a sneak peek into my life. So they did this tits up, tits out, and then she goes by and everything, and she fucking throws Renee with a shoe. And she goes, come on! Like, what the fuck? Tony Schiavone is interviewing Hangman Adam Page in the ring. So Page, I got a call Saturday night there would be a battle royal with the winner getting to donate $50,000 to a charity of their choice. So I booked a flight and won the match and got to donate money to some teachers. Let me tell you something. He donated it to the public schools of Chicago. That's going to a fucking bigwig. You think they're honestly going to spend $50,000 on those children? No. Tony Khan is a fucking blithering moron on this. He should have went and donated to the entire school system laptops or tablets or something like that. That's what I would do. $50,000 is going to go. $10,000 bonuses to all the board members. Guarantee it. The kids are not going to see a damn fucking dime. Asshole Tony Khan. I wanted to look forward. We've got a few months left in 2023, and I wanted to talk about what I wanted to do with the rest of Prince Nana and Swerve Strickland interrupted, walking down to the ring. Prince Nana, Tony, you've done enough so far. Good night, my friend. Ladies and gentlemen, show some respect for Swerve Strickland. Swerve, being in a coffin for almost 2 weeks, you get some clarity. The first person that I thought of as soon as I got out was you, Hangman. Charity? Really? What are you, some kind of mascot for AEW? You're doing charity for Chicago elementary system for children that are just going to flunk out anyway, and you weren't on the main card at All Out competing for any championships. When All Elite started up, you were the cornerstone of this company. You were handpicked by the franchise player, and look what you've done. Former AEW World Tag Team Champions to former AEW World Champion. Now I'm looking at you on a pre-show. You lost your spot. You don't even want it anymore. You've got a whole new contract extension. You've been eating good. Yeah, it's been showing. You don't even have a single matches or promos on Dynamite anymore. You don't even have a title matches anymore. You took a backseat to the Elite. You have been handed a silver platter. If you would have gotten the opportunity that you got a year ago, I'd be the first AEW World Champion by now. I leave you with this option A. Right off into the sunset, move out of the way and let me take that slot that you don't want. Or option B, you man up, cowboy up to get that confidence, show these people that what cowboy shit is all about. Or we could do this, and you could fight me for that spot. Forewarning, I have no regard for anybody. You choose to do this with me, I will walk you like a dog. Either way, I'm coming for that spot. You act like you don't want it. Paige, if you want a match with me, you go in the back and you get it. I'm done with this shit right now. Swerve, it's time. It's a shame that your wife and kid got to see their husband and father walk away from more responsibilities. Paige, return to the ring and got Swerve's face. The Machine, Brian Cage, ambushed Page and nailed him with a drill claw. Like it or not, a phenomenal setup, said Taz. And we're almost out of here, and this is an hour. People, content creating is not what it's not for the faint of heart. Main event time, Grand Slam World Title Elimination Tournament quarterfinal match. Darby Allin versus Nick Wayne. Darby Allin and Nick shook hands before the match began. Darby and Nick traded pin attempts. Darby grabbed a side headlock. Darby went for a tope suicida, but Nick dodged it, sending Darby crashing to the steel guardrail. Nick Wayne suplexed Darby and followed up with a fisherman buster for a near fall. Nick tried for a frog splash, but Darby raised his knees. Darby blasted Nick with a shotgun dropkick. Darby locked on a figure 4 leg lock. Nick Wayne reversed it, but Darby grabbed the ropes. Nick and Darby collided with a double crossbody, knocking one another to the mat. Sternum to sternum, that's tough full speed, said Taz. Darby and Nick traded strikes in the center of the ring. Darby asked for a microphone. Darby, you hit like an 18-year-old. Hit me like you want to win this. Darby put his hands behind his back and invited Nick to hit him. Nick nailed Darby with a thrust kick. Christian Cage and the TNT champion Luchasaurus walked onto the ramp and joined the broadcast booth. Nick flipped over the top rope and landed on Darby. Nick whipped Darby with into the steel guardrail. Nick hit a frog splash off the ring post and down onto Darby on the arena floor. Nick followed up with a Wayne's World for a near fall. Nick Wayne attempted a Wayne's World off the top rope, but Darby held on Nick, knocking Nick to the mat. Darby was contemplating a corbin drop, but had second thoughts. Nick applied the Last Supper for a near fall on Darby. Darby stunned Nick with a code red for a 2 count. Darby grabbed Nick's arms and stomped the back of Nick's head, knocking out Darby. And Nick's arms stomped the back of Nick's head, stomping out Nick. Darby advances into the tournament. So that is that. So Dynamite is going to be coming from the Heritage Bank Center in Cincinnati, Ohio. So we're going to Jon Moxley's hometown. And that is it. That is it. That is it. That is it. Please do me a favor. Go check out everything on my YouTube channel, which is the reviews of All In and All Out 2023, the review of Payback, and the rest of my YouTube. Please like, share, subscribe, and turn on the bell for all notifications. Please, when you turn off the bell for all notifications, you'll know about when I upload or go live. And please do me a favor, go check out my Astro Classics at myAstroClassics.com. Please go check out Liquid Death at liquiddeath.com. Please go check out Deathwish Coffee at deathwishcoffee.com. And go check out HOG Wrestling at hogwrestling.net. Please also go check me out on Instagram, TikTok, Threads, Facebook, and X Twitter. So you'll be all covered for the next Shadoo here. Please also my font on my freaking thing was small as fuck. I will be back here next week at 2 p.m. Fingers crossed and everything like that. I want everybody to have a great weekend. And we actually are reprieved from wrestling. There's nothing really going on. If you want to go check out Victoria Road, I'm not covering it. I'm just starting back with Impact. So if I do want to decide to do a pay-per-view, I will let you know in advance. Please do me a favor and just have a great weekend. And I am no longer in charge of a minor anymore. I'm in charge of an adult. Oh my God, I can't believe this. I want to dedicate this beautiful podcast to my son Anthony. He turned 18 today, and Mommy loves you, and I'm just proud to be his mom. So have a great weekend, and I will see you next week for episode 306. Love you all. See you soon. Bye.